On September 10, 2025, during a high-profile event hosted at Utah Valley University, political activist Charlie Kirk was shot directly in the neck, an aggressive attack that ended his life almost instantaneously. This case sparked massive controversy regarding event security and how it was humanly possible for a shooter to reach a firing position undetected. But to fully understand the sequence of events and all elements involved, we have compiled every single court document and FBI report to deliver a comprehensive technical reenactment, allowing us to accurately uncover exactly how these events transpired. It was approximately 12:23 in the afternoon. Charlie Kirk was answering questions before hundreds of attendees who were gathered in the central courtyard of Utah Valley University. The event was part of his college activist tour, taking place under a large tent set up in the middle of the square. Among the surrounding academic buildings, the Losee Center stood out, its roof visually dominating much of the area around the venue. From that building's elevated position, there was a nearly direct line of sight to the stage at a distance of about 500 feet. His is a relatively modest distance for a high-powered rifle, since the projectile would barely take a few tenths of a second before successfully reaching the target. While Kirk continued answering questions from the audience, the shooter remained positioned on the roof of the building, a location that provided a commanding view of the central courtyard. From there, the stage was clearly visible, with no significant obstacles obstructing the line of sight. The height difference between the roof of the building and the ground level also generated a downward trajectory toward the specific area where the target was located. The weapon involved was a Mauser Model 98 rifle, featuring a bolt-action mechanism and chambered in the standard .30-06 Springfield cartridge. This is a design whose origin dates back to the end of the 19th century, and which, despite its age, continues to be an extremely reliable and robust platform. In fact, the Mauser 98 system is considered by many historians to be one of the finest bolt-action mechanisms ever developed, and even today it remains the action of choice for many big-game hunting rifles. Although the investigation never made public the exact load used in the cartridge, the .30-06 Springfield caliber typically uses projectiles weighing between 150 and 180 grains. Depending on the specific ammunition used, the muzzle velocity can approach 2,600 feet per second, which represents more than twice the speed of sound in practice. These figures help to comprehend the enormous amount of kinetic energy that a projectile of these characteristics is capable of transporting during its flight in motion. Another important factor was the relatively short distance between the Losee Center and the stage, which meant that the projectile experienced only a minimal loss of velocity during its flight. Although every bullet undergoes some degree of deceleration due to air resistance, the separation between the two locations in this case was far too short to cause any significant reduction in ballistic performance. As a result, the projectile retained much of its initial velocity, as well as an enormous amount of kinetic energy by the time it reached Kirk's position nearby. The projectile followed a descending trajectory from the roof of the building toward the stage, crossing the open courtyard without encountering any significant obstacles, capable of altering its path very far. Only fractions of a second after the shot was fired, the bullet struck Kirk in the cervical region while still traveling at an extremely high velocity. After receiving initial medical assistance at the scene, Kirk was transported to a hospital, where efforts to stabilize his condition continued. However, the severity of the injuries proved incompatible with survival. Although the complete autopsy findings were never publicly released, the available information indicates that the projectile struck the cervical region and caused catastrophic damage to structures essential for maintaining vital functions overall. From that point onward, the investigation advanced along several lines simultaneously. One focused on reconstructing the physical trajectory of the shot, another concentrated on locating the weapon used, while a third line of inquiry sought to identify any biological or physical evidence capable of linking a specific individual to the crime. As the search perimeter expanded, investigators recovered several items of forensic interest. Among them was the rifle, that would later become one of the most important pieces of evidence associated with the case. While specialists continued processing the scene, the search for the suspect remained active. Images obtained from multiple surveillance cameras, together with witness descriptions, helped accelerate the identification process. During the hours that followed, pressure on the perpetrator continued to increase steadily, as law enforcement agencies had already released his identity, and numerous photographs were circulating through news outlets and social media platforms. Ultimately, less than 24 hours after the attack, the suspect Tyler James Robinson voluntarily surrendered to authorities accompanied by members of his family. As the days passed, the investigation shifted away from simply reconstructing the crime scene, and the objective became the integration of all available evidence into a single coherent sequence of events. That integration of evidence ultimately lies at the heart of every modern criminal investigation, transforming a collection of scattered clues into a verifiable explanation of what occurred. If you enjoy this type of analysis and would like to support the channel, we would greatly appreciate it if you subscribed and left a like, as your support allows us to continue producing this kind of content. Before signing off, I would also like to hear your thoughts on the death of political activist Charlie Kirk, so feel free to share your opinion in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to reading your comments, and I will see you in the next video.